We've had a beautiful morning. Good afternoon. This is a Midday Live. My name is Wendy Lai. In our headlines this afternoon, new transport fares follows 20% increase in fuel price announced by the National Petroleum Authority. More in the news this afternoon. We'll bring you the plight of residents at Tove in the Volta region, where they share drinking water with cattle, sheep and goats. And on the foreign front, Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez says he has returned to the country after receiving treatment for cancer in Cuba. So do stay with me for details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. But remember, you can always get interactive on Facebook and Twitter. It's News on TV3 or short code 1734. Don't go away. I start with our stories, and first we look at one of our headline stories. Right at birth, babies at Tove in the Volta region share drinking water with cattle, sheep and goats. The only chance they get to drink sachet water is when it's prescribed by doctors. Odiliofor reports that even the color of banku, which is a local delicacy, is discolored due to the bad water at Tove.
Barefooted with others in slippers, they trekked to the riverside. Residents wade through cow dung, dragging it into their own source of drinking water. This is the daily life of most rural folks in the Volta region. The pregnant and nursing mothers alike at Yekutikpo rely on this water for cooking. To really prove that this is the kind of water people here drink, we journeyed to Tove, a nearby village, and we met a group already coming from the riverside, confirming many people fetched water from here. Looking at the color of the water, I thought it was used for watering their farms, but I was shocked to know that this is the water they drink, sharing it with cattle, goat and other animals. This water is what they have been drinking all their lives. Mama V. Nukunya said the color of the water even discolors her banku.
We cook with it. The water is not good. When we cook banku with it, it becomes dark. Cows drink with us and they also urinate in the water. It is more worrying when children drink the water. Mama V has a 1.5-year-old son who experiences diarrhea anytime he takes this discolored water. On days she can afford to take him to the hospital, that is when she gives him sachet water. My son gets diarrhea often. He urinates often. The doctor says the water is bad. I can only afford sachet water upon the doctor's prescription. Just in the middle of the interview, this man began to drink the water, proving that was the water they drank. An oily substance on the face of the water, the village folks told us, is also worrying. For Efo Gakpo, a promise by their MP to provide potable water has kept too long.
The
last time they provided a borehole, but the water was too salty. Our MP, Honorable Jogi Disu, promised us pipe-borne water, but that is yet to come.
TV3's Ghana's Most Beautiful went scouting for this location, and she indicated with pregnant women and children at the center of her project, she hopes to raise money to help dig a borehole.
If I'm thinking of good water and women and I should find this, I actually would love to bring pipe-borne water, but I'm just a personality. I'm just Ghana's Most Beautiful. I will talk to the government, but if they can't, what do? I have to raise funds to start with a borehole. They're actually complaining that the borehole contains salt water and all that, but I still would bargain that to this drinking water, because we can't feed this to the children and then to women, especially those who are pregnant.
Till her project is completed, people at Tove will only be sharing water with cattle and have the color of their banku darkened by the bad water. Odilio Fori, TV3 News.
That story was by Odilio Foy, but remember you can always get interactive on Facebook and Twitter. News on TV with your short code 1734. Quickly do send your comments on the stories you do watch on Midday Live. But as you're aware by now, the National Petroleum Authority has announced a 15 to 20% increase hike in fuel prices. Well, per the new price, petrol will now be sold at 9 cedis 22 pesos, up to from the previous 7 cedis. Fuel increase prices comes with responding hike in transport fares, and I do have my colleague Roland Walker at the Tudu Central Oil Park to look at what people are saying with regards to the increase in fuel prices and look at what drivers are also saying about this very issue. Well, we're still trying
here in Accra, and we have a lot of the passengers expressing a lot more sentiments following the upward adjustment of fuel prices that has also resulted in an increment in transport fares as well. And for many of those commercial drivers we find here, many of these cars, you would find many of them ply very long distances, especially from Accra to Aflao and onwards to Togo and Nigeria. And so we just want to speak to some of those station masters and those various executives as to how they have been able to manage the various sentiments that have been expressed since the increments were experienced yesterday. I have here with me George Aga. He is the secretary for the Accra Longa Keta branch of the GPRTU, and also Wisdom Setega. Wisdom Setega is you're the vice chairman.
Vice chairman for Accra branch.
Now, there were concerns raised. I was told by some of the drivers when the announcement was made yesterday about the increment in the fuel prices, and some of the passengers were just not too happy. So how did you manage some of those sentiments?
Anyway, yesterday was Sunday. In fact, we advised our boys that we learned we were supposed to increase fares by 15%. But we asked them that so far as we haven't had the total list, they should add only a CD to the fare. But when the passengers were trying to complain, we asked them, okay, they should forego it. And then when we come to office this morning, we will see what will be the best price to take. And unfortunately, when we came, the price has been displayed in the Times. So we are going according to the prices displayed by our transporters who went for a meeting and then came up to approved prices in the Ghanaian Times. So that's what we are effecting now.
Okay, so it means that there has been some conclusion, Mr. George Hager. Now, but more importantly, when we are coming to a conclusion as to what the prices should be or the fares should be, what are some of the considerations you make? What do you take into consideration?
We consider the running cost, spare parts, tires. Overall, is the running cost. And that's what we consider before we make prices. Formerly, we were taking 7 cities, but now we've increased to 6 pesos. To what?
We do apologize for the freezing of our visuals there, but we will get Roland again to tell us more on what's happening at the Tudu Lorry station, looking at the full price increase. But next is what you think, still on that very issue. What do you think about the 15 and 20% increments in fuel prices, and how will you be affected?
It's going to affect me a lot because obviously what I used to buy, it has to go up. I used to buy say 20 cedis, and now that I had to buy about 27. The norm in Ghana, everything goes up and never comes down, so I guess we need to just cope with it.
The food I normally buy is now have come down already, so maybe I'm around the loss at the end of the day, majorita. And then the light off too, so I have to be buying 130, 140, 2 days. So I normally buy 120.
But I believe we have to be realistic about fuel prices. Instead of we subsidizing it, can we move that funds into other aspects which can help in the long run, because that's the purpose of the subsidy.
I am not a happy man because you first have to look at the salary before you do such a thing like this, because you see, if you are a government, you have to be a listening government. If 70-80% of Ghanaians are crying that the fuel prices shouldn't be increased, you have to listen to them. because it affects their lifestyle. The rural folks, how will they take it?
Like you know, and like I did say earlier on, the fuel prices are up to 15 to 20% following the National Petroleum Authority's increment of the prices of petroleum products. Now, every increase of fuel price comes along with hike in transport fares. And this afternoon, I do have with me here in the studio the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, Andrew Kwesi Kwachi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Now, what is the relationship between your coordinating council, the GPRTU, and the NPA, especially when it comes to the increment of fuel?
Yeah, thank you very much. Road Transport Coordinating Council is the umbrella body for all the transport organizations. We used to have GPRTU as a member, but due to one reason or the other, they opt out. But I must say now we have good cooperation. Whatever we do from our end, we discuss with the GPRTU, so we move together. The relationship between the NPA and GRTCC is not that much. We don't have that much coordination because our mother sector, that is the Ministry of Transport, they do the coordination between the ministry and the Ministry of Energy. So we don't have a direct link with the NPA.
So when did you get to hear about the increment in the fuel price?
Yes, our sector minister informed us that there's going to be an upward adjustment of the fuel, so we should get our house in order. So
and when did you get to know of this? Was it before Sunday or after Sunday?
It was before Sunday.
That was?
I can't give you the exact day.
Why?
I can't, because a lot of underground works went in.
Okay.
Because we have to go around the stations to look at the current fares that we are charging, so that we can build on those current fares to have a new ones. So I can't really tell you, the news was given to us Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we're fortunate to have the news. That is going to be, we are aware that there's going to be increase in fuel.
Okay. So now, how does this relationship with your mother body, which is the Ministry of Transport, yourself, and the NPA benefit consumers? Because if, for example, on Sunday morning, I can give you a practical example. I was sitting in a taxi on Sunday morning, and I was listening to the news where I did hear that there is fuel increment from the NPA, and immediately the taxi driver heard that there was an increment. Said, "Madam, I need to charge you more because they've increased the fuel."
Yeah.
How does this benefit consumers?
Yeah.
Or how does this benefit those who do board vehicles?
Well, looking at the benefits in terms of maybe accessibility, you need to have the cars on the road. That is what the passenger or the traveling populace benefit from our operation. You must always make the vehicle available. You know, to make the vehicle available, you must have your fuel to power it. So we make sure that at any point in time, let me say this, this instance we were aware of the increases, so all our materials were ready, all the new fares are ready, but we told the station managers that they should hold on whenever they hear increase in the fuel before they can apply new fares, because immediately they allow the new fares, all the pumping stations, the filling stations do adjust their systems. So it's not like, okay, let's wait for a day or two. Immediately they announce the new fares, they also increase their fuel. That is why we prepare ourselves down. So immediately we hear the news, we just came up with.
So does it mean that immediately the news broke, drivers were aware, so they did increase the fares? Did you have the fares ready and prepared? That's the new fares?
Yes, the new fares were ready. The new fares were ready.
And when did you give them to the drivers?
We didn't give them to the drivers, it was with the executives.
Okay.
Because immediately driver, you give the new fare. In fact, even to the increment, some of the drivers were not aware. Most of the drivers, even most of the stations, they were not aware. But we knew of it, so we are prepared so that immediately they come up with the new fuel prices, we can also give them the new transport fares.
Are you telling me that the new fares are operational now?
Yeah, they are.
When did you start?
In fact, we made the arrangement in such a way that immediately the new fuel prices come up, the new fares will be introduced. So as I'm saying, if the fares came in a Saturday or night or the Sunday morning, it means the new fares is also taking effect.
And let me take you back quickly before we talk to our Upper East correspondent. When you knew about the increment, yes, you've told me, but when did you meet to increase their fares, even before the news broke? When do you usually do that?
Yes, we used to have meetings. In fact, let me say this. The current fares that we are charging is not solely depend on the fuel increase. Because if you remember, it's about 2 years since we increased the transport fares. There have been some overhead costs. Operational running cost is now heavy now. So even within ourselves, we are about to increase before we got to know that the MPA is also about to increase the fuel. So if you look at the percentage on the fuel increase, it's different from what we are charging now.
I'll hold you there and talk to Tanko Mohammed Rabiu. He's our Upper East correspondent. Hello, Tanko.
Hello.
Now, are the drivers charging new fares there? Any announcements on new fares there in the Upper East region?
Okay, thank you very much. As you are aware of the fuel increment, the Upper East region, and Bogotanga to be precise, is not an exception in terms of the increment of lorry fares. Initially, the price of petrol per litre was 7.68 Ghana cedis of 1.708 litres, and now it's 9.21 Ghana cedis of 2.050 litre. This morning, I visited the Bogotanga main lorry park to really find out the resulting effect it has on lorry fares. The fares for the various destinations in and around Bogotanga has been increased. For example, the GBR2 fare from Bogotanga to Tamale is now 7 Ghana cedis from the initial amount of 6 Ghana cedis. Boga to Boku is now 4 cedis from 3 cedis. Boga to Zabula is now 3 cedis from 2 cedis. Not forgetting the taxi fares from Boga to Navongo, which is now 3 cedis from 2.50 pesos. The car owners and drivers at the Boku GPRT station told me the fare from Boga to Boku and Zabula is too small for them as car owners because the road is in the problem state, which affects the vehicles almost every trip. The fuel increment has also affected food items, especially at the Boga Central Market. Wendy.
Okay, now, Toko, what are commuters saying about these new fares? If you've been able to speak to some of them.
Some of them that I spoke to told me that they are not surprised because the head of the increment about a week ago, so they are not surprised of the increment. So most of them are prepared for the fare.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tanko Rabiu Mohammed. He's our Upper East correspondent, and he was telling us about the increment in transport fares in the Upper East region, specifically Bogotanga, and what commuters are also saying about it. Now, back to you, Andrew. Yes, you're telling me that you prepare the fares even way ahead, and you know about the increment even before the news comes out. Now, when the news comes out now, we do see some drivers charging way above the fares from the coordinating council or from GPLTU. Have you gone round to check if indeed they are complying with the new fares that you've come out with?
Yeah, thank you. We take the opportunity to appeal to all drivers and all the transport union executives that they should abide by the list of new fares that we have provided to them.
Why are you appealing? Because are they not supposed to go by it?
Yeah, they are supposed to go by it, but it's a human institution. One will take advantage in one way or the other. That's what I'm saying. People are taking advantage. Perhaps the traveling public is not aware of the new fare that we have published. That is why we are appealing to them, say they should comply with whatever that the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council and GPLTU have provided to them.
And to those who do not comply by it, any sanctions for them? Let me hold you there quickly and go to the Ashanti region where we have William Evans Inkum. He's our correspondent over there. Hello, William, rather. Now, has the new fare taking effect in the Ashanti region?
Well, Wendy, officially we have not had any information that the GPRT has actually released new fares. But then consumers of travelers who normally commute Kumasi-Accra corridor, I think there's some kind of a good news for them. Me speaking to one insider from the new plan station has actually confirmed to me that the authorities at the new station are not likely going to review any prices. So if what the insider is actually telling me is anything to go by, then there's a little bit of good news there, because as I'm speaking to you now, if you are commuting from Kumasi to Accra, VIP charges 25 cities or 250,000 old cities. So if they are not going to review any price further, it means the price is going to stable as far as their charge for between Kumasi and Accra is concerned. But in other stations like Sprinter Station, they are taking 112 cities or 120,000 old Ghana cities. Initially, they were taking 10 cities. As for Ford Station, my checks over there actually indicated that they have not reviewed prices, but I understand by the close of the day they are going to do something about it. So anybody who is actually involved in the demand and supply chain actually gets one way or the other becomes affected whenever there is a change in price, especially with petroleum fuel. So that is the situation at the moment.
So Evans, it means that some have increased their fares and others haven't.
Exactly. And those who are commuting short distances, like the taxi drivers and then the other truck drivers who are actually shuffling in Kumasi, some have also increased their prices up to between 15 and 25%. But we, like I told you earlier, we have not had any information or official information from DPRTU to the effect that prices have been reviewed.
And what are commuters saying about it, even though you've touched briefly on that?
Of course, the heckling is on. Some who are actually have not been able to reconcile with these new prices are heckling the drivers. The drivers are also kind of reacting normal things whenever there's a petroleum increase in prices. So these things are happening, but I must say that as compared to previous years, I think people are beginning to adjust themselves to this new development, because it's not as high as compared to previous years, where you'll be seeing passengers sometimes holding the necks of these drivers and stuff like that. Things are actually calm because people are beginning to understand and appreciate the fact that even nothing at all, or all things being equal, every year we should expect some increase in fuel prices, and that will automatically have a reflection on the prices of commodities.
All right. Well, thank you very much, William Evansinkum. We're looking at the increment in transport fares in the Ashanti region, and I'm sure you did listen to, before we go to the earlier question, you did listen to our reporter, and he was telling us that some fares have been increased while others have not. Is there really coordination countrywide?
Yes, there's a coordination, because our Ashanti regional coordinator, one Honorable George Bafo, I've sent him copies of the new fares already. I know the national chairman of GPRT is also hailing from Kumasi. He was at the meeting. We took the decision together. It's not that any of the transport unions is not aware. It can be a management decision that they want to sit down. Perhaps looking at the new fares, they thought maybe their operational costs and other things, they need to sit down again. So we will not be in a haste. We'll wait for them. They are not saying they are not going to increase, though. We'll wait for them and see how much. But now the ministry is also putting up a monitoring system. This monitoring system will go around the country to check whether we are complying with the new fares that has come up. So we are working on it.
And what happens to, I was asking, what happens to drivers who do not go by it?
Yes, from the coordinating council point of view, we can hold the executives. We are not working directly with the drivers. At least we have a meeting with the executives, so whatever decision that will come up,
so you're now going to take a decision on that very issue?
Yes, the monitoring team
increasing fares.
Yes, the monitoring team is there. We will go around and make sure. But after the punitive measures, I cannot speak of it now.
Are there any punitive measures?
Yeah, there should be.
There should be, but you are not aware of it?
No.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. I just spoke to the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, and he is Andrew Kwesi Kwache. We're looking at the increment in fuel prices as against the increment in transport fares. You're still watching Midday Live. The Asawase Government Hospital has not got a functioning X-ray unit. Nakokwabla reports patients in need of extra travel 47 kilometers to Koforidua, worsening their cases.
Dr. Dai, medical superintendent at the Asisawa Government Hospital, checks on 9-year-old Mabel Joseph 3 days after her surgery. X-ray was a must for proper diagnosis, according to the doctor, when she was rushed in, but they were unable to get one immediately at the hospital.
We suspected a possible perforation of her bowel intestines. It's an infectious condition, but as a complication, if it's not treated early, then the bowel gets perforated, sort of punctured in a way. Yeah, and what happens is you tend to have air leaking into the abdominal cavity. So we needed an urgent erect chest X-ray and then abdominal X-ray, which we couldn't do, but we had to do an respiratory laparotomy anyway.
Is that risky?
In a way, because I mean, surgically you should have a working diagnosis before you go in, so that you know what to prepare for. But sometimes, in the case of limited resource, you are compelled to do some of these things.
Mabel's predicament is not isolated. Quite frequently, such cases are reported at Asisawa Government Hospital, but then the available and closest X-ray unit is in Koforidua, 47 kilometers away.
From here to Koforidua might take an hour, and these are cases we can safely manage here. If I have a trauma case, an accident case, I need a chest X-ray immediately or urgently to take a decision to put in a chest tube, but I just don't have. By the time you refer that case to either Kolibu or Koforidua, it might be too late for the patient.
But the hospital has an X-ray department. The district assembly provided the building in 2011. Before then, General Electric in the US had donated this mobile X-ray machine to the hospital in 2006. A fully equipped radiology room it appears to be, but has never been used.
So we informed Ghana Health Service and Atomic Energy Commission to come and have a look at the equipment and for installation. So it was at that point that we were informed that the processor unit is not working. And my understanding is that it's part of the equipment that processes the film. Yeah, it's not working. And then we informed the Ghana Health Service, Director General, and then a team was brought down to reassess it, and it was confirmed that it was not working. Patients' life are at risk. It's rather unfortunate we don't have one. So they are managing with that X-ray unit. It's not the best.
Asisawa Government Hospital, previously Health Center, was elevated into a district hospital in 2004 for the Upper Manyakrobo district. Reviewing the year 2012, no child under 5 years died in their care. However, 2 mothers died. That was even a 50% reduction over the 2011 figure of 4. Despite these successes, TB detection rate is reducing due to lack of a functioning X-ray unit. Nakwa Kwabla, TV3.
That report was by Nakwa Kwabla. Always get interactive with us on Facebook and Twitter. News on TV3 or short code 1734. We move to education, and then Koso MA Junior High School in the East Akyem municipality of the Eastern region requires urgent rehabilitation. The 4-unit classroom block has developed cracks while the roof leaks.
Established some 74 years ago, the Nkronso MA Junior High School has not seen any rehabilitation. The school serves more than 4 communities in the catchment area. Enrollment stands at 200. Authorities explain the deplorable nature of the junior high school discourages pupils from attending classes. Last year, the school performed abysmally, recording 28.3% passes. The school has no library nor computers. The headmaster's office doubles as the storeroom, while the staff share this obscure space. Those who cannot cope opt to sit outside for better ventilation. The headmaster of the school, Paul Esumankon, lamented several proposals had not yielded the desired results. Expect assistance from the chief and elders of the community who contributed towards patching the walls.
There's a need for us to do something to prevent any unforeseen circumstances. So we really want them to come to our aid so that the school continue to be in existence for generation to come.
The chief of Nkronso, Osaberman Anadanso Abim, expressed concerns at the falling standards of education in the town and appealed for support. He also appealed to the Urban Road Department to rehabilitate access road through the community.
So we school na reho in futuro if school ne be yen finshia adua san be ye de ohoni yemfa samedi ba kokran kan ti school dan nyina bubu ani bubu en chense tete